Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, April 25, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any other related question that you might have about the future though in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can see that airflow pressure that we've been watching yesterday, all courtesy of the special update from the US National Hurricane Center, is now a little further south than it was yesterday. You can see that L right there across the northern portion of the main development region. And we can see a trough attached to it, represented by those broken red lines. Not to mention, we can also see another trough stretching all the way from the southwestern Atlantic all the way down into portions of Hispaniola. We can also see these multiple H's that represent the ridges of high pressure that are responsible for sending all of those easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see those low-level patches of clouds pushing from east-west across the Caribbean, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure. You can also see those upper level winds aloft pushing from southwest to northeast. Those clouds don't have much in the way of rainfall at all, but it definitely moistens up the environment, and that's definitely what's going to be happening tomorrow, especially with this trough in the vicinity. We're going to be affected by it, some amount of rainfall across sections of Jamaica this weekend into next weekend. We're indeed grateful that that's going to happen. We can also see the swirly associated with that airflow pressure still spinning away. It is now void of any thunderstorm activity, which is why the US National Hurricane Center has dropped it. No more code yellow going on right now. And we can also see, as usual, the thunderstorm activity across sections of South America right there, sections of Colombia, Panama as well. If we take a look at, or if we remember yesterday's video that was posted, we remember that we were highlighting that special area from the National Hurricane Center. But in yesterday's video, if you recall, we forecasted that it would have been raining across sections of some southwestern parishes in Jamaica during the afternoon, more so sections of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, maybe even sections of eastern Westmoreland. And what ended up happening? Although a post wasn't made, we definitely had that cloud cover and shower activity across sections of some southern parishes. We saw some clouds building across sections of St. Catherine, sections of Manchester and St. Elizabeth. Definitely gotten on some isolated shower activity, especially St. Elizabeth right there. And even sections of eastern or southeastern Westmoreland got in on some of the activity. If we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, we can see that the rainfall that was there definitely cleared out in time. We saw a speck of green, then it vanished. And even the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology shows where we indeed had that rainfall today, mainly across sections of some southwestern parishes, so sections of eastern Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth and Manchester. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Friday, temperature should dip down to about 24 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. As relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we still see Jamaica embedded in some slight yellow colors. For this is 18th on Friday, so that's 1 p.m. on Friday. And this map is from the GFS. We can see those yellow colors on the key on the right represent up to 1 degree Celsius above normal temperatures. I know the normal temperatures for the month of April across Jamaica are about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 88 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius, so we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 31 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Friday. As relates to the dry air map, we know the dry air is represented by the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can see that for the most part, sections of Jamaica are embedded in some yellows that represent the low end of the scale in terms of dry air. And with the trough across portions of the Greater Antilles, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, moistening up the atmosphere, it makes sense that we see more in the way of clouds, not to mention blues that represent that moist air. And this is also explanatory or why there's going to be an increase in the amount of rainfall across the Jamaica area, starting this Friday into Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and even Thursday of next week. And we're indeed grateful that this is going to be happening. And we actually even made a post on our Twitter page. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made on our Twitter page, but also on our Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook page. So it's on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, on our Instagram at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica is 76. And it highlighted the accumulated precipitation forecast maps for the next 7 days. You know, the U.S. National Hurricane Center usually shows the next 168 hours. And this map is definitely forecasting the next 168 hours, the next 7 days, stopping at 12 p.m. on Thursday of next week. And we see the colors that represent all the rainfall that's expected. We know all of these shadings, the yellows up to the oranges, represent even up to 60 millimeters of rainfall. We know 1 inch of rainfall is about 25 millimeters, so anywhere from 2 or more millimeters of rainfall is expected over the next 7 days. Either way, we're indeed grateful that there's some amount of increase in rainfall that is expected. And although the Saharan dust is definitely in our area, as this map is showing 2 p.m. on Friday, we see some of those lighter shades of browns across sections of the central and southwestern Caribbean. Most of it is pushing off to the southwest. We're indeed grateful for that. Jamaica is right here behind the word port, as in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. We're getting scraped by that, not getting it as yet, but we might get some amount of it on Friday. But the air is so moist that we might see more in the way of rainfall than the hazy skies, and we're indeed grateful for the rainfall that's to come. As it relates to the wave forecast, we see a mixture of those lighter shades of blues, especially across the southwestern portion of the island, and those darker shades of blues across the northern and eastern portion of the island, that we know represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave heights to 1 to even 1.5 meter wave heights. And that's because the winds for the most part will be coming in from the east-northeast, especially on the north coast, so we see those brighter greens that represent anywhere from 10 to 15, even gusting to 20 knots. South coast getting some winds, yes, from the east, but look at where all of this air is piling up across sections of some southern parishes in Jamaica, maybe sections of some southwestern parishes. So we might have those cumulus low-level clouds becoming rain clouds up in the mid-levels, maybe even making it up to cumulonimbus status, some high-level clouds that is. And then, as usual, the upper-level winds might just blow all of that off, and the winds seem to be coming in from the southwest for the forecast for tomorrow. This map is from the GFS showing 18D on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday. Upper level wind should be coming in from the southwest for tomorrow, so it might cause some of that afternoon rainfall to linger across sections of some southern parishes. And just for reference, we know southern parishes, we're talking about St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrews, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. If we take a look at where the rainfall is expected, these maps from the Euro and the GFS are showing the 1 hour total rainfalls. This is showing 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 7 a.m. Jamaica time. And where do we see the rainfall? As usual, across the northeast sections of St. Anne, St. Mirror, Portland. GFS showing something similar, but most of the blues that represent rainfall across sections of Portland. Skipping ahead to about 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, is actually 10 a.m. Jamaica time. We still see much of the same. The blues that represent rainfall across northeastern Jamaica, Portland, St. Thomas sections of St. Andrew, well, Portland, St. Mary sections of St. Anne, more so on the Euro map rather than the GFS map. Either way, we see the consensus that Portland is definitely going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall tomorrow. But by afternoon now, we see a flip with the rainfall. These maps are showing 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time. You see the blues that represent rainfall across sections of some southern parishes. So sections of Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, definitely Manchester. We see those darker shades of blues. Sections of Clarendon, sections of St. Catherine might get in on the action as well. You are showing some across sections of Kingston and St. Andrew. We'll see exactly what unfolds with that. Either way, both maps are showing rainfall across Jamaica, and we're indeed grateful for that. Even the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing rainfall more so across sections of the northeast, which makes sense because Portland is definitely going to be getting it. The Euro showing up to 0.33 of an inch of rainfall across Portland. GFS a bit more robust, showing up to 0.35 of an inch of rainfall. Either way, we're going to be getting rainfall somewhere across Jamaica tomorrow, and we're indeed grateful for that. We're in the month of April. We're in the final month. As a matter of fact, we're wrapping up the final week of our rainy season next week, of our dry season next week. So we're wrapping up the final week of our dry season next week. We usually receive up to 114 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we're going to be stepping into the month of May, which is the secondary rainy season or primary rainy season, where we get the most rainfall, as you know, is in September, October, and we're going to be getting an increase in the rainfall. So we're indeed grateful for that. We're definitely looking forward to those May showers, and we'll take all that we can get to put some kind of a dent in the drought that we're currently experiencing across sections of the island. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have those low-level patches of clouds pushing from east to west across the Caribbean, bringing some amount of overcast skies and isolated showers in sections of the basin, sections of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica getting in on the action. And if we take a closer look at what was taking place in terms of the actual rainfall, as we know, we can have cloud cover around here and not necessarily rainfall, so we have to look at the Doppler radar images. And we're going to be looking at from about 1:30 p.m. yes, 1:20 p.m. actually. We see that Puerto Rico definitely had some of that rainfall affecting sections of northern and western Puerto Rico again, just like yesterday. Even some yellows in there that represent some moderate to heavy rainfall. And we can also see some rainfall that we had across sections of the Dominican Republic as well. Not much taking place across the Leeward Islands, but if we take a look at the Barbados radar, we definitely have some rainfall pushing in from the east as we speak. Some of that rainfall already affecting sections of the island of Barbados, with more to come. You can also see some rain bands passing to the north of the island, pushing westward, possibly to affect sections of St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines later on tonight into tomorrow. You can also see some rainfall right there affecting sections of Trinidad, more so than Tobago. Tobago is in the clear. Trinidad, especially northern Trinidad and eastern Trinidad, getting in some amount of rainfall as we speak. As it relates to the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that rainfall that we just mentioned, that we saw in the satellite images, across sections of Venezuela and Colombia. Not much taking place elsewhere at all. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Friday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Friday. And we do see that for the most part, majority of the Caribbean should be getting in on those grays that represent average temperatures, even some blues in there that represent below normal temperatures. Some areas might be getting in on some above normal temperatures, but we're indeed grateful that it's nothing that drastic at all for the most part. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Friday, we see that majority of the Eastern Caribbean are finally getting in on a break, but we still have some amount of dust that should be plaguing sections of the Central and Southern Caribbean, so the ABC Islands, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, still to be getting some Saharan dust, as we can see these brown shadings that represent Saharan dust. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be getting in on a break, as we can see the Eastern Caribbean already getting that break with more clear skies across the region, and we know all of those clear skies are pushing westward. As relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, these maps are showing more so in the way of those lighter shades of blues with a mixture of darker shades of blues, so anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height to 1.5 meter wave heights, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to even 15 knots, maybe even gusting to 20 knots in some spots, as we can see by those bluish, greenish, and even yellowish colors, as we can see by the key on the bottom right. And we can see that for the most part the winds should be coming in from the east across the Central to Eastern Caribbean, more so from the east-northeast across sections of the Western Caribbean, including sections of the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Cuba right there, even sections of the Bahamas as well. While more of a southeasterly flow coming into the Gulf of Mexico and into sections of the southern United States. As it relates to the rainfall forecast now, these maps are actually showing the amount of rainfall that's expected within the next 24 hours from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. And we see that for the most part, we're still in for some more tremendous rainfall across sections of Haiti, the Dominican Republic, associated with this trough. And the thing about this trough is definitely going to be lingering and maybe even stalling, especially across sections of Jamaica this weekend into next week. This is just the beginning. It has been plaguing Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and it's going to be meandering and stalling across the Greater Antilles for the longest while. So definitely some isolated flash flooding could be possible if it's not already taking place across sections of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And we know with the lack of trees across Haiti that flooding and landslides could pose a possible threat, maybe life-threatening in some cases. You can also see some graze % rainfall to be affecting sections of the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, sections of southeastern Cuba, not to mention sections of the eastern Caribbean that are already getting that rainfall. So sections of Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, sections of southern Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, eastern Nicaragua and Honduras. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.